What's going on, guys? I'm back with my 25 Days of Christmas Marathon, and today we're going to be talking about what I personally find to be fairly overrated for a Christmas film, the 2005 live-action How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Although riddled with missteps and flaws, The Grinch will always be played in nearly every household due to the cult following that it has. The film is odd and wacky, where sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing. But at the end of the day, that's what makes The Grinch the Grinch. When the weather gets cold and the heating goes on in the house, those are some dead giveaways that it's time to watch the iconic Christmas classic, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So let's dive into it. For me, and I feel most people as well, the film succeeds on the fact if you like Jim Carrey as the Grinch or not. To me, he's just a bit of a mixed bag. I think that he had some things that are iconic that most likely nobody can really mimic in a live-action film, but on the flip side, it can also really overcook the performance to where it can send the film spiraling down and going down fast. But at the end of the day, you can't help but appreciate the effort and charisma he puts into the character. Whether you like him or not, his mannerisms is what sells the character. To the way he contorts his face, the awkward smile he does, the way he positions his body at times, and the way he delivers his lines. He really does a great job bringing this 2D fictional character to life. Carrey had to go through extensive makeup sessions in order to fulfill the role, so inevitably, it took a toll on his mental health. So at the very least, you need to give him credit for the amount of passion he had for the role and his character. It certainly isn't book accurate, but he definitely gives it his all in what he thought would benefit the character in a live action sense. When it comes to Cindy Lou Who, outside of some very obvious missteps with her character, I thought their little bond worked for what it was. She may not have been the best actress for the job, but she definitely comes off as that sweet and innocent protagonist that she's known for, while having some decent chemistry with Carrey, although I feel like Jim Carrey is the one to give the most of the credit for. Now with the script, like the entire movie basically, it's a mixed bag. Still to this day, I see and hear people my age quoting the film in everyday life, so there's clearly something to say about that and how memorable some of the lines are, but there's also an equal, if not greater portion to the script that just really doesn't work. It can really range from funny and memorable to really odd and out of place. Maybe they were trying to appeal to the adults taking their kids to see it with some of the actions that they took, but it just didn't really work for me and really making the tones to be all jumbled up. Now, when it comes to the wacky production and just the overall look of the film, along with the costumes and the makeup, I feel like they did a pretty good job with that stuff. The film certainly gets a lot of slack for its look, and sometimes for some good reason. I'll expand on that in a minute. But for me, I mainly enjoyed how fake it looks, while still being realistic take to the book's vision, along with the style of the cars and houses just for an example. And to add on to that, the costume, makeup, and hair design are also fairly good as well. Some of the makeup work can be a bit simple and repetitive, but the costumes scream Christmas along with the crazy hairstyles, which to me is what gives the characters their personality. But with all good things, there must be some flaws, and in the case of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, there's quite a bit. For starters, my biggest issue with the film was the direction and overall approach to the story. If I'm being honest, it just felt very disconnected and out of place to the source material. Sure, it definitely plays homage to it, like with the narration, Whoville in a general sense, and the third act of him stealing Christmas, but realistically, it missed out on a lot of aspects that made the original as great as it is. Don't get me wrong, I'm an advocate for that films are films and books are books, but there needs to be a little bit of continuity with the source material. To kind of backpack onto that, I can appreciate the backstory to the Grinch, but we really didn't need one, did we? We all know his motive. If you wanted to give him a backstory, fine, but why give him a complete by-the-numbers narrative where his motive is so weak? Not to mention, it certainly screwed with the pacing, which leads me into my next issue. I'm sure it's not easy taking a Christmas short and adapting it to a feature-length film, but 104 minutes is just way too long. On top of that, there's pacing issues all over the film from the flashbacks and just trying to balance the Grinch's screen time with Cindy Lou Who's and Whoville itself. It just goes on for way too long, having too much fat on the bone. My next issue indirectly comes from the PG rating. I don't necessarily mind that it's PG. Actually, I kind of like that it's PG. But there are just way too many sexual bits insinuated, having this strange X-rated vibe to it at times. Now, my next issue, unfortunately, comes from the Grinch himself. I can appreciate the fact that they wanted to bring the character to life, and I don't really mind the casting, but the direction they went with the character just really wasn't right. It's clear they wanted to go mean-spirited, which is good, but it was almost overdone, coming off nearly horrifying and almost demonic, if you will. And for my final issue, outside of the nitpicks that I have, is with the color scheme. For a Christmas film, at the very least, you'd expect some bright colors. This film just didn't really have that. And when they would add a pop of color, it was more so a mute color palette, so everything had this hazy and gray tone to it. Overall, there's other nitpicks that I have, like the fact that everyone looks alike in what should be a unique world, along with more direction issues, but overall, this is a Christmas mainstay due to the cult following that it has, but to me, it's just a mid-movie. How the Grinch Stole Christmas gets a 5 out of 10 from me. Let me know what you think about the Grinch in the comments below, and let me know what film you'd like to see me review next. See you guys in the next one.